So Pat, is that accurate? Is that what's happening for you? Are you experiencing Rhonda's personality as a flaw?
No, I am not. I actually think it's an asset to you.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. In fact, let me just turn my camera around because I just realized that I've got the camera the wrong way around. Oh, you just saw my house. There you go. But listen, hey, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Let me just say this first and foremost. This was actually very good episodes of Married at First Sight. I think it was really insightful to see a lot of the couples in a different light. I want to say this first and foremost. Rhonda is interesting because I think with Rhonda, what we see with her is we see someone who was happy to give it out, but wasn't able to take it herself, right? She was happy to dish it, but when it came her way, we saw how she behaved and she made it unsafe for the other person to share their thoughts. We saw obviously Megan and we saw also Derek as well in their relationship. And unfortunately, Megan showed us more of the reason why she's also behaving at the moment as an unsafe individual. It's tough for him. He tries to bring things up and they're making it difficult. Okay, Megan's making it really difficult at the moment. We also saw with Will and Brittney, she definitely is feeling Will a lot. I just don't know how much Will is feeling Brittney. Okay, I'm not sure how much Will actually rates Brittney. I'm not sure how much Will, feels that she is the one for him. But we did see some more intimate moments, them on the couch, when he came back from work as well, when he spent a couple of days away, he came back on the couch. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we're seeing something in that respect, right? Now, the one that also was interesting, we saw Chad and Belinda. Shout out to them. We know that obviously Chad had a moment with the production crew, and he then obviously had a moment with saying I love you, and Belinda also said it back a couple of days later or whatever, she said it back as well. Jaylen and Josh, let me just be honest with you, I'm scared for Josh. I'm scared for him because when brother said, listen, let me take away the prenup, I said, brother, you started it, you should probably finish it. Listen, I'm all for trust. But my guy, I'm not saying that you should have had a prenup in the first place. I'm just saying now you said prenup and then take it away. I'm like, I mean, you could have put something in the prenup which would have said, oh, look, if you are a stay-at-home mother, you will get a certain salary or payment for myself in regards to the household. But hey, it is what it is. But I think, they are at the moment the leading force. They seem to be together. They seem to have be on the same wavelength as well. So yeah, I'm liking where that's going so far. So I want to break down a couple of scenes before I get a couple of people on here as well to join the panel, because I think I definitely want to be able to share some of my thoughts in regards to what happened on especially episode 7, because I think it highlighted some things as well for both couples in this arena as well. Okay, so I definitely want to get that as well. Let me just see. Yeah, I know. Yes, his ex talk. Yeah, that was the only thing that was weird. I found that fascinatingly weird. Why does he talk to his ex? I was so confused by that as to why he's talking to his ex. But again, like I said, people do things and a wild thing. So let me quickly just break down a couple of people as well. Okay, so they're gonna Merrick. Let me just quickly go through them as well, and then
It up.
I would prefer that over this feeling of feeling ambushed.
I don't understand his aggravation.
Now, let me be honest with you what happened with Derek and Megan. First and foremost, Pastor Cal nuked Derek, okay? Pastor Cal, I get it that he wanted to keep a fair balance, but Pastor Cal did Derek dirty. And I say this because I think he did Derek dirty, and then I think he also did Will dirty. And I'll say why I think he did him dirty. Because when Derek and Megan had come together, right? There was no real checking of her particular behavior. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't say anything, he did, but I'm saying to you, the amount of the amount of shutdown, and then not the shutdown, but the level of rudeness. So she's not just shutting down, she's actually rude. And as we know that one of the major horsemen of the Dr. Gottman four horsemen apocalypse of divorces, one of them is there's contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, and I always forget the fourth one. You know what I mean? But she's exhibiting defensiveness. And so in this instance, I'm actually scared for Derek because it's getting to a point where it's becoming abusive. I don't want to say it's there yet, but I'm going to say that it's getting on that line now because, and I've seen this behavior before. And so I witnessed this. I actually witnessed the very same thing here. Everything she's accusing him of, she's actually the one doing it. Like everything that he's gaslighting me. No, you were the one doing it. Right? You were the one doing it. And so actually from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning, when we had a dog sleeping in the bed, I thought that's nonsense. I'm sorry. I know you guys love your dogs and maybe it's just a me thing. You would never sleep. And I would never sleep in a bed with you if you have a dog with you. I mean, I won't sleep in anybody's bed at this moment, but unless it's my wife. But I'm saying to you, like, I never did it when I was in the world. I'm not going to do it now. There's no way you're going to have me sleeping in the same bed that your dog sleeps in. Right? I just think that's anti-intimacy. And it's like, would you want to be having sex with your baby in the bed? Like, think about it. If you wouldn't want to have your baby in the bed, why would you want to have your dog in the bed? Okay. Now, my thing about this Derek and Megan situation is because Pastor Cal put a battery in her back. He put a battery in her back because when they had the conversation on the couch, and I think Derek was a little bit tetchy at the point where she said, oh, when she started talking about the dog, right? She said, oh, I feel like you're detached from the dog. And I said, oh my God, like I feel like she's blown it out of proportion because that's not what happened. The boy just told you, yeah, that he wants to walk the dog, but he wants to be with you. You've dumped your dog on him. You've suddenly gone to work and just dumped your dog on him. Right? So I felt like Pastor, and again, I'm not blaming Pastor Cal. I just wish that he had a bit more investigation. I wish they give him a bit more information because he probably didn't have the information. I wish he had a bit more information so that he can really tackle the issue because the issue that they actually have was actually a problematic issue. Because not only does she shut down, she insults, she gets rude, she has a nasty tone, she's nasty to be around after a certain point, right? You saw how she called him into the room and then only to berate him even more. This is getting to a point where it's almost abusive. It's getting to a point where it's almost abusive. So I was like, and then so in that moment, Pastor Cal, there was a moment where she got scared because he said about the dog, and he said, well, okay, well, you don't be rude, and I won't be rude. And Pascal called him out, and I understood what Pascal was saying about being defensive. He doesn't have all the information, so that's why but there was a reason why he's being defensive in that moment, because it's like, you're asking me to be more connected to the dog, and I'm telling you to take your dog, and if I'm going to walk it, let's walk together. You don't want to walk it together. So, and what ended up happening was that a battery was put in her back, because then she was like, hey, and she acted like she was all scared. And I was like, B, if you don't get your act together, but again, Pascal didn't have all that information. So when this beef then eventually comes across, right, and this situation is wild.
And so it's hard for me to like empathize. Maybe I do things that are like demanding and I don't realize they come off that way. The pit bull of me was coming out.
I've been in a situation, I can't lie to you. I'm this one actually was, I remember this situation 100% of what the person was just like Megan. The shutdowns, the crying, the gaslighting, the accusing of all those kind of things, and all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting. you know. So the fact that she's even saying, you know, she has this inside of her is why I said, you know, when they said she needed an alpha male, and I was like, you say you want an alpha male, but could you handle an alpha male? This is why she can't handle an alpha male, because would he tolerate this? Would he tolerate this behavior? He wouldn't tolerate this behavior. You wouldn't be able to do this. So you're taking advantage of the scenario because a person is not treating you like an alpha male would treat you. You would get to play victim with the alpha male and say, oh my God, I you know, he shot at me and he's a bad person. You'd get to play the victim. You can't do that here. And that's why it's showing you up now as who you really are, Megan. You're not a victim. So when you choose other men previously, whatever, but now you're not a victim anymore. You can't be, because now you're the aggressor. And like nothing that Derek is doing is going to work. In episode 7, right? And I wonder if I can get episode 7, a clip for you guys as well in episode 7. Let me just see. Let's see if I can get episode 7 up for you guys as well. But let me see. I want to get a clip from episode 7 because episode 7 was even worse. Here we go.
Through harder conversations and troubling times, Derek and I are learning more about each other, and that is really going to help us in the future.
So they had an argument in episode 7, okay, which was wild to me. Okay, all right, wild to me. The argument was because he went to the guy's house and told the truth about their relationship. She now said it's an issue. She's now annoyed and angry about the fact that they had an issue, with him sharing the information of what truly was happening in that relationship with other people. And look, the reason why is because she knows she is the aggressor. She's not keeping it silent because she wants to keep it silent. She's keeping it silent because she's the aggressor in the situation. Okay. And so in that scenario, what we saw was how Derek was trying to navigate even that conversation with her. And even though he was trying to be respectful, again, once more, she still wanted to make it an issue. I didn't tell anybody what happened. No, you didn't have to, but you decided. That's what you decided. But y'all didn't talk about it before you went to their places. If you decided before you went to the party and said we shouldn't talk about it, then fair enough. But you clearly didn't do that. So we have to be able to communicate. So now we're making it mad.
That you feel like I don't want children. And then you decide to gaslight the shit out of me.
So here's my biggest thing. When that happens, I answer in a way that I think is non-escalatory at all.
So I was like, yo, she decided to say that he gaslighted her. For what? Because he didn't even say, all he said was, I want to make sure that you actually want kids like I want kids. That's all. Right? That's all he was asking. He weren't saying that you don't want kids. What he's saying is, I want to make sure that you're enthusiastic about it. I don't want anybody who's going to just do it for me. I want you to be enthusiastic about it. You know? That's all he's saying. So all he's saying is making sure that, hey, I want to make sure that you're on the same alignment. That's all. He never cussed her out. He never said that you're not good. He never said anything negative. He just said, I want to make sure that's all you're doing. I want to make sure. Because the way you're talking about it, I'm not really sure if that's okay, because you've mentioned how scary it is and all those kind of things. So I'm assuming that maybe you're not really, maybe that's not on your mind like that. You know what I mean? Again, I don't think he did anything wrong in that situation. Too tough. You know, he could be a little bit stronger. He could let her know, listen, that's not the one. But at that point now, it's getting a little bit abusive. You know, I can't lie to you. Her behavior is becoming somewhat abusive in a sense. It's the gaslighting for me. It's the turning around. It's the deflection. It's the accusatory tone, and then actually accusing him. You know, and it's starting to get a little bit emotionally abusive. I feel like in that sense. In that sense for her. Quickly, and I'll just do one more because I don't want to do too many, and I'll get Elsid on as well to talk about this, because I think it's really good to discuss some of these things, you know, as well. You know, I want to make sure. Okay. Let's talk. Obviously, Will and Brittney. Okay, Will and Brittney. Let me be honest with you. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not feeling it. Okay, I can't lie to you. I know they're having sex. I know they are still intimate. Something is off for me. Something is off for me. I just can't put my finger on it, but everything that he does just seems robotic. It feels very robotic. Nothing feels organic. You know what I'm saying to you? Like I wanna see them be organic, but I can't see it in him. I can't see it in him.
Smiling like a little kid.
Cut it out. It was nice to have her in my arms and just see her again and spend more time with one another. It's easy. It's simple. This is fun. This feels right.
Man just said a great commercial. He said, listen, it's easy. It's simple. It's just right. Yeah, those are 3 terms. And using the power of 3 sounds like you're in a news Maybelline. Like, sounds like you're in an advert. We're not getting a true him. I don't know if he actually likes her. If he does, he doesn't feel safe enough to be his true self. But I don't see it. I don't see it. Everything about him is performative. And you see, sometimes it is not necessarily, you see, he's doing all the right actions. Right? He's doing all the right actions. Every action is very much meticulously made. And, you know, even right down to the hug and the come here and da-da-da-da-da-da. Everything about it, energy-wise, doesn't feel right. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you can't say it like, oh, it's that action. It's just the energy he's putting out. It's just the energy he's putting out. Yes, it's empty. There's no emotion or authenticity behind it. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. I just don't feel it. Look, even this.
How was everything? How was work? How was your flight?
Not fun taking layovers. So it's just kind of flying all day.
It's like they could be on a movie set of Tyler Perry and I'd believe it. Okay. And it feels like they could be on a set of Tyler Perry and they wouldn't be out of place. And I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying to you? Someone said to be. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there's something more going on. There's something more going on. And, you know, I think for Brittney, the wanting of that, I think she knows something's not quite right. I think she knows something's not quite right because her reactions are telling us something's not quite right. Okay. All right. Like I always say, I know people can feel unsafe in sex, but to pull it all the way back that way, I'm like, there might be something a little bit more. But anyway, listen, I've spoken enough. Let me get El Cid on, and we're gonna chop it up a little bit as well about these couples and give you guys a nice little breakdown. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, some of this stuff, Someone say he's trying to be the new Akechi. Lord have mercy. All right. Well, El Cid, how we doing, man? And these last 3 episodes, I think this is a really good season. I can't lie to you. I know that people are not necessarily all the way, you know, like locked in, but I'm feeling, you know, this first season of Peacock, I have to give it to them. You know, they're giving us something. You know, I have to be honest with you. The previous seasons have been a bit, you know, but this season seems like we've got a nice little balance of some storytelling. We've got some drama. There's some more drama on the way, but it doesn't seem over the top. Like I'm not in a drama opera yet. You know what I mean? So I'm actually kind of liking what Peacock have brought so far. I mean, it's a bit heavy with 3 episodes, but I'm liking the fact that we're getting stories, we're getting background, we're getting understanding, we're getting information. You know, everyone seems to have some level of background. It's only Will. I don't know much about Will, but everyone else seems to have a lot more information in regards to like what where they're coming from, parents. There's still a few more people I can probably get a bit more of, but yeah, it's good stuff right now, you know.
So Sean and I were right to keep you wrangled to Married at First Sight.
Well, for the season, yes.
Hey, Precious.
Hello.
Hello. Where should we start? Because I'm on the opposite end with you on the whole Megan thing, and
You can start there.
I'm think Will is diabolical for some of the things that he did.
Well, Derek, you mean?
No, Will.
Oh, well, okay, Will, towards Britney. Yeah, sorry, okay. No. Let's talk about Megan and Derek. Let's get some thoughts on that. What are we saying? I mean, it's been 7 episodes now. We've seen some conversations between the two of them. Again, I'm not going to say like nobody's perfect. So Derek is not a perfect person here. Of course, he's got his own things he has to work on. Him screaming, she probably tired of him screaming in the middle of the night.
Or howling. He said he was going to howl for her later.
He turning over thinking, is it the dog? Is it him? What's your thoughts? This is now like a few times we've seen the same kind of cycle of behavior from Megan so far. She obviously clearly doesn't feel safe, and those are causing some reactions in terms of her behavior, which I think are going a little bit far now. So there needs to be a little bit of a rein in before it goes a little bit too far. But what's your thoughts on this couple, Megan and Derek, so far?
I think that Megan was paired with, a more calmer dude. I think she did need a calmer person like Derek. The thing is, I do understand Megan. I do understand her frustration. I don't understand the running. When I was younger and I was frustrated, I ain't running. We gonna hash this out. But maybe she's aware of the cameras. Maybe that's where my toxicity would come in. But here's where I'm really ticked off, and I would be ticked off like Megan with Derek, is that when you come to me with topics, you keep bringing somebody else's name in it. Oh, my friend, wanted me to make sure. Take the friend out of it. This is a question you have for your wife. Don't bring your friend in it. Don't, and then, you're asking the other men for advice and whatever. Don't bring that back. Don't bring the whole basket back. Just say, hey, I was talking to my friend, and you know what he brought up? He made me realize I needed to talk to you. This is a concern for me. But here's where I'm going to lamblaze Derek. I'm sorry. And for the gentlemen who don't know, there's no way that a woman is going to go through the process of harvesting, freezing her eggs, paying for the storage fees for freezing those eggs, and she doesn't want to become a parent. Ain't no way. So why are you asking me constantly if I want to be a parent? I do. I'm paying for it. Stop asking me. Now we could talk and drill down. It's like, do we want 2? Do we want 3? How are we going to do it? Are we going to talk surrogacy? But questioning whether she wants to be a parent, she's proven she's got enough skin in the game. Do you know how many shots, what she has to put her body through in order to be able to harvest the maximum amount of eggs? And then she got to pay for storage. And we are in Texas. In this climate of women's, reproductive systems, she is in Texas. That is one harsh state right now. And if she's thinking about, or Derek or anyone thinking about having a kid, they have the heartbeat rule. If she is 6 weeks, the fear is if this doesn't go to term, she could be brought up and her doctor on charges. There's so much to think about. And I think Derek, sometimes in the way he speaks about it, he may be minimalizing it. I do know, yes, they filmed this last year, but they filmed it about the time Roe versus Wade was gone. But again, it costs money to freeze your eggs. It costs time. Yes, Megan is not bringing it to him in the best light. It is harsh. It is, triggering. She is not speaking to him in the best manner. But I think I want Derek to also pull back and realize you're asking her if she wants to be a parent, and she's already shown that she's doing a lot to make that happen.
That's an interesting thought. I never really thought of it from that particular perspective. You know, whether he thought from that perspective either, I don't think he did. Okay, because why am I thinking about that? I just need to ask you the question: do you want kids or not? Okay, just because you froze some eggs, I mean you want kids of me. You know what I'm saying? Choose. I need to make sure. Just because you froze some eggs, don't mean you want kids of me. And I want to make sure that you are. I want to make sure that you are enthusiastic about that. I don't want you just to be like, oh, I want kids. I want you to be enthusiastic about the situation, right? Because kids are a big thing. And you know, just because you froze the eggs, who knows? You might have changed your mind. You might not be feeling that it might not be a strongest idea. It might be an idea you wish that someone else had a strong idea and then you want to do it. Do you know what I'm saying to you? We don't know what the thought. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying to you, I also see. I'm now seeing that perspective too. I never saw it from that perspective as well. So yeah, I mean, I can also see that. You know, I wouldn't necessarily thought about that because again, that's not my world. Which is why we're having a conversation, right? So now we have the conversation, right? That's what you're supposed to tell me. Do you see what I'm saying to you? The way that you just explained it to me, you know, that's how we meant to say it. But when I bring up the conversation, you're going to tell me that, you know what, I'm always laying stuff on you, which is another way of you deflecting from really having the hard conversation and shutting down. But again, I agree with you. I didn't really pay attention to I knew that he spoke to the friend before he had that conversation, and he spoke to the men before that conversation. I don't know if he actually said in the conversation with her, but if he did say those things where he said, obviously, I spoke to the lads or I spoke to this and now I'm bringing this to you. Yeah, that's again, that will go back to what we said about Derek earlier on, which is that Derek needs to stand on his values in terms of what he actually wants rather than just kind of like accepting it and then kind of placating and pretending that you're okay when you're not okay. Because if I was to go on a more undercurrent level and go past the emotional almost abuse that she's bringing and look at it from a behavioral perspective, the reason why she's also kind of reacting the way she's reacting, if I go past that length, is because she also sees that he's not being authentic. And if I know anything about fearful avoidance, is that she recognizes that he's not being true. So what's going to happen? Either some betrayal, he gonna lie to me, he gonna do this. There's something not quite right about him because he's not being all the way true and honest with his thoughts and his feelings of me. So I can understand how that can cause someone to kind of react almost in a sense as well. Yes, Elsa.
Yeah, it's also that if you're asking me, you're questioning my decision making too. You know, it's like I just told you, if she's paying for her eggs to be, you know, hosted, just that alone shows that yes, but he should then change it. Are you enthusiastic? What is the timeline? He should move it beyond, do you want to be a parent? Because clearly, you know, she does. Start with, you know, I know you want to be a parent. You've gone through a lot to, you know, be able to make that happen later on in life. How are we going to make that happen? And based on how she would answer that would also tell you if she's enthusiastic about it. You don't have to have her say, I'm happy about it. Just talk about kids and listen, Derek, and I will tell you enough.
Precious.
I'm trying to decide where to start with her. Megan is very I can see why she's single. It's probably the best. I'm trying not to be shady. I'm really trying not to be. But as I was watching this, I was like, this is why you're single, my girl. This is why you are still single. Because the reaction is just wild. It's 0 to 100 like in a split second. And I'm just like, it doesn't need to be that venomous. It doesn't need to be that um extreme. But I also understand what Elsa said. I think Elsa's point is a good point. I think I also didn't see it that way as well. Um, and I think Elsa is correct about Derek should have approached it in a different way. Because even when he brought up that thing of, oh, I was speaking to my friend, and I think, you know, having children, especially if you're at an older age, is a sensitive thing. And as a woman who has, you know, obviously frozen her eggs, that's clearly going to be a sensitive thing for her. And I think that idea of you speaking about that to somebody that she doesn't really know that well is probably quite triggering, especially for somebody who seems quite private as she is. She seems quite closed and guarded. So to have you kind of be telling her business out there, I can see where she would have got triggered However, comma, her ability to communicate and to have these conversations without it blowing up into a massive argument is just not nowhere in sight. It's crazy. And I can see how Derek then shuts down and becomes quite tense, and then it's like obviously he then says certain things that will then continue the conversation, and it just becomes a triggering of triggering. But I think I'm even me myself, I'm unsure whether Megan likes Derek or not. Like I think she's attracted to him, but I don't know if she actually likes this man. And I think that's why she's even more easily irritated. Like she was going, "Oh, I'm annoyed, I'm annoyed, I'm annoyed." And I'm like, the whole time I was like, why? Why are you annoyed? What's going on? Like, why are you annoyed? So I genuinely think she's struggling to like him. It's either she's struggling to like him, or I know she mentioned about, they've been having intimacy, and a lot of the intimacy has been unprotected. And I think there's a little bit of the preview that's making me think that there might be a pregnancy scare on the way somehow, but we'll see. But I also think that maybe if let's say she does like him, maybe that intimacy being there now means that she's a little bit even more sensitive to anything that he might say that she might perceive as criticism. Um, and that again, that goes back to what I said before. This is why I think when you're on these kind of shows, you should just take sex off the board, because it just clouds everything. It clouds everything. But yeah, I don't know. Megan just seems like a whole lot of headache to me. And if I was Derek, I would have been out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When she took that man into that bedroom and they were having a little conversation, like say the mic wasn't on and we could hear everything. Like I say, maths producers shady. They said not this year, okay, not this year. They had a meeting with the Love Is Blind producers and they said not this year. Yo, you guys are gonna hear what
We will put a mic on that dog. We are going to get this audio. We are going to get this audio, even if the dog. But here's the thing. Here's where I would say with Derek, the way she treats that dog, I wonder, is that how you're going to treat our child? Because you just palmed this dog off on me.
She didn't want a husband. She wanted a dog sitter. That's what she wanted. She wanted a dog sitter. The way she was saying, take this dog on a walk, the way I would have looked at that woman in her eyes and said, if you don't take this blood clot dog away from you right now, because what is wrong with you? This is why I can't date people with pets. This is exactly why, because they come first. Pets come first. Let's be real, Elsid. Pet owners, pet lovers, their pets come first. I'm so sorry, but I have seen it. From when you're letting your dog sleep in your beds, nah. No.
My dogs know your paws don't even touch the couch, like if you're about to jump on it. They know. They know.
But you're black, Elsid. You're black.
No. Don't go there. Don't go there, because there are some that do that are my complexion, okay, my ethnicity, and they do sometimes even kiss their dogs in the mouth. Don't even go there.
There's few of us.
Yes.
An emphasis on few.
Yes.
Yes, because those who do usually kiss the dogs.
So
all I'm saying is I can't do pet owners, because I just think, for me personally, I don't do pets. That's just, I don't have anything against animals. I think animals are lovely. However, come on, I do not do pets. And if you're telling me something that I didn't pick to have in my house, you're telling me I have to go and take it for a walk and be picking up its poo and all it. No, this is your dog. You look after your dog. Do not pawn it off on me. So I understand his frustration, because I would have been the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think also like and I think someone made a point in the chat as well. Their first conversation around kids, they actually bypassed it. Okay, so if you remember the hammock conversation, it's probably like episode 3 or 4. They were in the hammock and he brought up kids and she jumped in saying whatever, and he said, okay, cool, look, we'll just address this later on. This is why the conversation came up again. And so something it reminded me of a situation that I had been in a couple of years ago with a particular person, and they were also fearful of wedding. And what was interesting was we had an original discussion, and the conversation did not end because it got to a place that was getting heated. And I said, let's just leave it where it is. We'll revisit this a little bit later on down the line. So when we came to revisit it, there are obviously other issues that have come in between, and now we're addressing the other issues too. So now we're on like our fourth conversation about a whole bunch of different issues because things are coming up, pop, 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 pop. When we did come around to that conversation, the person actually said, like, oh, I didn't know we we're going to still talk about this situation. I thought it was done. Done where? We did not. You didn't finish it, right? And this is this. But then here's where we came to That's where we came to a solution. Because again, you're gonna come to a solution, right? It's easy to complain and say I expect you to do this. But what conclusion we came to was, okay, I think one of the ways we would look at it would be that we would set a date ahead of time. So if I knew the conversation had ended, if I'd set an appropriate date, say, hey, look, we're gonna revisit this in 2 weeks' time. Let's look at the Friday. We'll have a conversation. We'll talk for about 45 minutes, dress this thing, and better be out the way. You know what I'm saying to you? But because I left it up in the air, and again, you don't have to do this for everybody, but some people, because they got their attachment issues, it feels like a pylon for them, and it feels like it's heavy for them, and they're overwhelmed by it. And also because of the way that they deal with criticism, and they take it too hard, which is what Megan is. Megan is, she's ultra light when it comes to criticism. I mean, the moment you even say, you know, anything that could be negative, she's already flighting. Like she's already off with the wind. So there may be a need to also kind of like set that kind of time. If there was a previous conversation, hey, you know what, the reason why I'm addressing this because we didn't have the conversation another time. If it's not good to have a conversation right now, let's address this another time, but specifically let's set a date so we know exactly what we're coming into that date. And that's what we agreed on, you know, in that particular instance. Now, it was frustrating for me at the time because I thought to myself, this is common sense. You didn't finish the conversation. We should address it again. But not everyone thinks in that particular vein and fashion. So you have to kind of work with that person. Now, of course, that person wasn't Megan. So that's a bit different. I wasn't being gaslighted and told and there. But I do remember that person kind of being like, you know, have you always got a criticism? It's like, no, because we just had a patch in our conversation of our life where it's just kind of a bit heavy. But I recognize too that for some people who are fearful of wedding too, there may be an issue where we need to also kind of for now kind of just be able to maybe address certain things in a certain time period. So maybe some of the negative stuff, we say, hey, look, end of the week, let's have a conversation about the things that are not working very well. That way everybody knows what's happening by the end of the week. We're going to have that conversation so that rest of the week, we keep it nice and clear, keep it fresh, keep it funky, keep it nice. And hopefully by the end of the week, we get to have a real conversation. You get to say your problems that you have with me. I say what my problems are with you. And that way we can air it out then and be cool. Now, again, this might not work for everybody because, again, like I said, it might not work for Megan, who's not going to say open about. Again, it's just another option on the table because we're still kind of new. We're still kind of getting each other. And it's a little bit heavy sometimes when you got back-to-back issues, which I can understand. Again, it's just another way of potentially looking at it, but they didn't finish the last conversation, so that's why they're having it again. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But again, that might not work for someone like Megan, who seems hell-bent on making sure that he's a villain. So, yeah, any other thoughts on me? Yeah, go for it.
But I think she's just avoiding the conversation because, like what you said when it first came up, she pretty much was the one that kind of deaded the conversation. And she, even on the honeymoon, didn't want to have any serious conversations about the future or anything that meant having to get quite emotionally deep. She comes across as somebody who doesn't like to have like really, really deep, emotionally serious conversations. And that's putting Derek on edge, I think, because I think Derek is going into this marriage thinking, I don't know what the future holds because I don't know nothing about what you actually want in the future. I don't know. You're telling me, UK, you want one child at least. I said I want 3, but there's no like, okay, well, let's just try and think about 2 for now, and we'll see what happens when we get there. There's no like future talk. And actually, for now, when I'm looking at them, it almost feels like when we look at the history of maths, it almost feels like Derek and Megan's roles here are the reverse of what usually happens, where it's the man who is quite non-committal, quite avoiding about talking about the future, and the woman really wants to know. and now it's kind of the roles are reversed a bit, because anytime anything serious comes up, she deads it. She's like, this is too much, I don't want to talk about it. And so that's why it keeps coming up, because there's no resolvement there. There's no, like, I don't really understand what her, yes, she might have frozen her eggs, but I don't understand what her vision for her future is. She hasn't mentioned it. Like, you're saying you want one kid, but why? Why don't you want two? Why do you want three? These things are part of the things that you talk about when you're talking about kids. The reasoning why you want to have two, three. You haven't even asked him why he wants to have three kids. Why does he want to have a big family? You haven't asked that question. Like, all of these things that you need to know to understand the person that you're with, those things haven't come up. So I just think there's a lot of avoidance happening. I don't know if it's just because she is becoming very real for her, and she's not used to having to be open and vulnerable with people and with the man and things like that. Maybe it's the cameras, maybe she doesn't really like him, but she is definitely detaching. And then when something comes up where it's her doing something, she gets like really, really, really sort of like frustrated, really critical, really sort of upset. And then that's when the rebuttal comes in. And I also found it quite annoying when Pastor Carl was there, and he was correct. Yes, Derek was rebutting, but I think also this is a cycle that's happening with both of them. Anytime he brings something, she rebuts. That's what causes the arguments. So I was a bit annoyed that I think in that moment Derek wasn't really supported as much as he should have been. I think that Pastor Cal did bring up some really good points about how he can, because I do think his attitude does change, and I think she does detect that, and that feels like him pulling away, and she gets anxious as a result. So I understand, but I just feel like in some of those conversations that we saw tonight, I think I will be honest, and I like to call a spade a spade. In some of those conversations, I think the men in some of these conversations were done a disservice in some of these conversations that brought up tonight, and I was kind of disappointed to see that. So yeah.
But if we look at the scenes too, we see that even the dog would prefer to be around Derek. Even her animal on the couch, the animal, the minute she let the animal go, it, as she called it, ran straight over to Derek. When they were walking, she was holding the leash, but where was the dog? The dog was walking right next to Derek, because the dog knows Derek has time for him. Or her. I don't know. Zoe. Okay? Even the dog. So the thing is, when do you have time? You work in your business, you work in the family business, and you call in last minute for me to walk the dog. I told you I haven't had dogs in years. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm anxious about it. This would be the time, Megan, that you would call up that dog walker and have the dog walker come walk your dog. Don't worry about it, Derek. We're going to, ease you into this. As a responsible dog owner, I don't want everybody around my dog, because it's not just the person. It's like my dog may be anxious too. My dog may not like you or how you're walking them. I need to train you how to walk my dog and, the path that they take or whatever. So that is where I'm looking at how she treats her dog, that she says is her all. And the only privilege the dog gets is on the bed. That's it. I don't see her giving that dog much privilege besides that. So with how she treats that dog, I'm like, Derek, there ain't no hope for you. There ain't no hope for you, because even when they talk to Pastor Cal, you still got to have the dog in the room while you're doing the do. I'm sorry. Are we serious? Are we serious? No. The doggy needs to have his bed over by the fireplace in the living room. You need to be out of this room. If you're crate trained, you need to be in a crate. But he's like, I couldn't understand when he's like, yeah, that don't stop nothing. I said, Derek, you are capitulating to everything she says. And that's where you're going to find yourself railroaded each and every time. Because you're just going to get tired of fighting. You're going to get tired of bringing stuff up that may cause her to explode. And you're just going to let it happen. So he's just here for decision day. I'm sorry. But yeah, she did switch up with Pastor Cal. She went straight into, oh, he's just so mean to me. I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, Megan, if y'all don't pull the clips of Pastor Cal and show him this woman, she's the one howling at Derek more often than not, I was like, Pastor Cal, you don't have all the information. They're making you look foolish right now. They're making you look real foolish, and you are falling for Karen's tears. I'm sorry, Pastor Cal. They put you in that position, but it's not like most of your decisions tonight have been well anyway. So I gotta leave a grain of salt for that.
Yeah, well, whoever's taking notes for the experts has done a terrible job. So either they've done a terrible job or he's just going away from the notes that's been told. Who knows? Yeah, Dr. Pia did well with Rhonda holding her accountable. So maybe that's what will happen when he got Dr. Pia. Maybe there'll be a little bit more of a change because that was shambolic. Okay, let's talk a little bit then about the other couples then. So let's talk about Will and Britney because Will and Britney, this episode we got more information about I guess their dynamic in the relationship. We saw Will tell us a bit more about the fact that he a little bit scared, but he is turning up in the bedroom. They are turning up in the bedroom now. So she's getting what she wants, and we can see because she's getting closer and closer to him. She cooking, she cleaning, she excited to see him. She told him how handsome he is on the phone, how good. She told him about 7 or 8 times how cute he was on that phone. I said, sis, if you don't stop the nonsense of what you're doing, after about the 3rd or 4th time, baby, it doesn't even sound authentic. I'm not saying it doesn't sound authentic, but it sounds beggy. Yeah, it sounds beggy. It sounds like you never got man before. I need you to pause. It's not that you can't tell your man they look good a lot of times. It's the fact, it's the way she's doing it. It's like, it sounds like you've never had a man before, but you have, sis. Okay, because you're trying to keep that man. That's what's going on. You're trying to tell him how good he looks to keep him. But baby girl, it's given desperation. Desperado. But what's your thoughts on Britney and Will? Because of course I spoke about Britney, but I think Will is robotic. What's your thoughts on these two in this last few episodes? How are you seeing them? Precious?
Yeah, Will's getting on my last nerve, can't lie to you. he's, he's just so dead in the eye. He is dead in the eye. There's nothing going on here. And I don't know if it's like he's nervous on the camera. I don't know if he just doesn't really feel her too tough. I don't know if that's just his like laid back. See, this is why I can't do laid back people because I'll be looking at you and just be like, man, sir, you need to give me something because right now it's a lot. Part of me is like, is he on the spectrum? Because it's just a lot. Like some of the cues, the social cues, he's not picking up. And I don't know if this is because he's just choosing not to because she's not communicating them. So that might be the case. I think maybe he's ignoring them purposely because he's like, well, if you've got a problem, say that you've got a problem. And if that's the case, I can completely understand that, and I can agree with that with him. But yeah, he's a lot. He's a lot. I will say with Britney though, I need Britney to learn how to start taking compliments because she's annoying me. Anytime this man gives her compliments, she's like, "Oh, cute." No, my girl, just say thank you. Just say thank you. That's really nice of you to say. This cute thing is annoying. Please stop. Um, but yeah, I agree. I think when that FaceTime with her and Will, I was like, wow. I was like, how many times do you have to say it? It's okay. And I think that what's happening is because his lack of reaction is causing her to feel very uneasy. And it's causing her to feel very much like, does he like me? Does he not? Do I need to give more? Do I need she's overcompensating for what he's lacking in. And what will end up happening is that will just get irritated and pull back more. So the more she pushes forward, the more he pulls back. Um, so I want her to get more secure in who she is and what she brings to the table, what she wants to do, how she loves, and just loving in the way that she knows how. I think it's hard when you're with somebody who isn't communicating what they need because I think he's basically wanting her to just be herself so that when something comes up he doesn't like, he doesn't have to say it or say anything about it. He can just be like, on decision day, This is how I feel. You didn't do this. Da, 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 da. I just wanted you to be yourself. I wanted you to be authentic, and then so I can make a decision. So he's purposefully not communicating what he needs. He either doesn't know, or he's purposely withholding that. And so it's just becoming a lot of anxiety as a result. But I also feel like Brittney, regardless, would have felt some form of anxiety. She very much isn't secure. She needs that reassurance, and I think he gets annoyed having to give that reassurance. So it's just yeah, it's both of them triggering each other. But and it's a bit it's a shame because I can see bits of them where I'm like, oh yeah, this could work. Oh, okay, they're getting along. He seems to find her really attractive. He likes her. She obviously finds him attractive. Like it could work. But I just I'm like, oh, it's like dragging teeth. Like even their communication is awkward. It is so awkward. It's almost like when me watching them, I'm on eggshells because I'm like, Will's gonna say something, and now she's gonna get upset, or she's gonna say something, and then she's gonna ask, okay, what do you think about that? Like even when when she had to go and show him the house, and there was no reaction from him. And I know because she was going on about how much this house meant to her. I knew that if Will didn't have any, oh my God, this is such a beautiful home. Oh my God, well done. That she was gonna feel some type of way. And that's just he doesn't care because it's a house. You got a house, beautiful. He doesn't care. That's not what he doesn't care. Um, and I get it because on some level I would have been the same. But you learn the social cues. You learn the social cues to be like, this is a really nice home. This is really nice. Like to make comments about what you're seeing. But like in the grand scheme of things, you may just not care to chuff about the home, or you may not realize how important the home is to that person. So you making comments about it, it's like, well, you don't think to do it. But I think for her, she just because it's so intrinsically related to her personality, her achievements, who she is as a person. I think she took it more personally than she needed to. But I also feel like, Will, you could have just said, your home is beautiful. The room's really nice. I like what you've done with the decor. Like, say something. You can't be walking around this woman's house and saying absolutely nothing. Like nothing. But I guess it's that thing of like, again, if she didn't tie her ability to buy a home at such a young age to her identity and her worth, him not saying anything about the home wouldn't have hit so hard for her. And I think that's the problem, is that she's tying she's tying her identity, her worth, her value, things she shouldn't be tying to, and then getting hurt when other people may not see it the same, you know? So yeah, I think they do definitely trigger each other. I know Elsa has things to say because Elsa's been giving me the impressions, giving me the face.
Girl, I have been Will. I have been Will, the stoic face. I have been Will because I don't want you to read me. But I'm reading you, so I can't put too much emphasis. But if you start fawning over my house, I'm thinking you're casing a place to rob me. I'm sorry, but that's just me. Don't be fawning all over where I'm living, and like, oh my God, this is so nice. I'm like, wait a minute. You're not going to be moving in here. I think you're making plans if you're talking too much about my place. Now, here's something a little controversial. I'm going to ask the question because I saw it online. It came to me. The way Brittney is asking Will for services rendered, okay? Are we going to equate her kind of like how Edmund was begging? Okay, we had a lot to say about Edmund begging for some. And here we have Brittney, I want some, don't pull away, please. Hey, I mean, she ain't saying I'm just too nice. She ain't saying that. But it could be stand to reason she begging. Go ahead, Precious. Come on.
I understand what the parallel you're trying to make. I do. However, I think it's slightly different because he wanted to have sex initially. They both wanted to have sex initially, but obviously it went wrong. And then he was like, yeah, I'm not trying to get caught up in all of that. And I get it. I understand, because as a man, you don't want to be in a situation where you're having sex with somebody who has such a visceral reaction to something not completely going quite right. And you don't want to get stuck in a situation where you do it again, they regret it, and it becomes a serious matter. So he's like, look, I'll just take it off the table completely until we're at a bit more of a stable ground. So that's the only way I would say it's a bit different. But I do think though, her kind of, I understand why she felt rejected. I do, because I think he didn't give her reassurance. So I get it. But also, if the man doesn't want to have sex with you, the man doesn't want to have sex with you. You can't force it. You just you can't force it. You have to just take the L. You got to swallow the L and charge it to the game. You can't be bringing it up every single time. He doesn't want to have sex with me. He doesn't want to have sex with me. Because it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Precious, your choice of words. Your choice of words is having me crack up inside. If I can holler laughing, your choice of words. You gotta swallow that L. You gotta swallow that L. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But here's where Will was diabolical. Now, Will, I know you know better. And I had to replay this scene and watch his face because, Will, you're diabolical. We did not need to know that her hair was shedding. We did not need to know her hair was shedding. And you know how we are about our hair, Will. Come on now. So you reaching for that strand of hair that we can't see that's on her plate? Leave it alone. Everything's on camera. Leave it alone. So I said, you shady boots. Now we're talking about how much hair is left in the bathroom. We're talking about hair everywhere. And she's talking about shedding, and we're talking about balding and who may get bald and who may not. I said, Will, you know better. You know better. We did not need to know that. Okay. And Brittney, you going along with the conversation told me a lot. You just, really, really want to be a people pleaser. Really want to be a people pleaser. He was, when they were eating, I thought he was reaching for more food out of her plate. He's done better. He's used the tools he was told. Speak up more, compliment her more, because she doesn't know what's going on in your head. And he did. And he said he enjoyed his meal. And while I thought he was reaching for food in the plate, because that's my pet peeve. Don't just reach. Ask me. Okay. Ask for me to share. He was actually reaching for a strand of hair. I was like, no, sir. No, sir. I'd have left it there. Or maybe, hugged her, take her hand and kiss the back of her hand, thanking her for the meal, and just blow that away very gently without it showing up well on camera. I was like, Mr. Shady Boots. Now we got to talk about the hair that's shedding all over the apartment. But yeah, there, I don't know. I don't, you said there may be hope. I think he sees her as doing too much. And we saw that with the talking on the phone while he's away at work. Oh, you look so good. Look at them tattoos showing up through the shirt. Oh, why you look so good? Did you get a new haircut? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a fine man. It's like, please. He was even in the phone looking at her like, why are you doing so much? Why are you doing so much? And when he came home, it's wonderful that you're like, okay, I brought you some dinner. It's here. He said, I just want to sit down with you. Well, I could go heat it up. I could go do this. No, he had to tell her, no, sit here. Let us enjoy a moment together. And I think with the people pleaser, she probably likes to, do for acts of service and stuff like that. But if he's telling you what he wants, sit there and give him the time, the quality time that he wants. But yeah, he's not, I don't think he all about that life. And just getting kerfuffled because he's like, why are you bringing so much clothes to the apartment and not fawning over it or over her house? Brittney, come on. The house, he may be more concerned about who you are, rather than what you've accomplished. But yeah, if there's a visceral reaction, you're right, Precious. As men, are often in this, tight spot in this position. If there's any hint of impropriety, they will pull all the way back. So, hey, no accusations. You can't say it's too much or whatever. I will pull all the way back to not only protect you, but more importantly, to protect himself and any kind of, thoughts of wrongdoing or going too far. So the fact that he wants to, pull back and say, let's talk about this a little bit more, and you're upset with him, I find this is, as you said, Precious, before about Derek and Megan, this is another flip. This is another flip of the genders and the conversation.
Yeah, so with Will and Brittney, I definitely can see. I think sometimes she's got bunny hopping energy, and that can sometimes dysregulate you a little bit as well, because you want to be able to just chill and vibe and just get along. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And she's ready to at the drop of a hat to try and serve. And again, I think this highlights the uncomfortableness of being intimate and being close, other than having sex. It's not easy to be close and to be intimate and to be in each other's presence when you're uncomfortable with intimacy, and so that is probably why those moments were happening for him as well, in that space. Hey, listen, if you go around someone's house and you see the house, now of course I think she had a bit of an extra response. I mean, listen, you shouldn't be going away crying, but I can understand if you felt some type of way, like, oh, I would have wanted him to, I wanted you to kind of say something nice about the house. I'm not mad at it. But why he didn't say nothing nice about the house? Because he don't like it. It's that simple. He don't like it. You know what I mean? He don't like it. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Number two, also, is the other aspect is, and something I think is probably maybe a bit more close to what I'm seeing with Will, is Will is playing games. And I'm not saying that playing games in terms of trying to get her tied up. I mean, a game in something also plays like nice. I'm saying in the sense of, I feel like Will is in a power struggle right now. I feel Will is always, if he does like her, then he's in a power struggle. I feel like he's trying to remain composed, keep his emotions in check, not allow himself to like her too much, because once he likes her too much, he's gonna lose control, right? That's my kind of, I guess, my deeper thoughts that could be that with him, because the way he handled that and then handled the scene later on about, you want me to get excited as you're getting excited, but if you bring a pizza home, I'm not going to be as excited to you. I'm like, wait, hold on, what? You're not going to be as excited? Why does that come out your mouth? Because that's definitely something an avoidant would say. It's like trying to maintain the expectations, trying to manage the expectation of someone else and what they're willing to give. And I feel like Will needs to start breaking free from the constraints of that thought process, where he's not able to understand that emotions are a part of the bedrock of a relationship. Emotional attachment is a part of the bedrock of the conversation and a part of the relationship. And yeah, I feel like that's something he needs to work on. I think with Brittney, it's funny because when they're talking to, again, this is something that Pastor Cal, I just wish that he dug deeper again. First and foremost, these two were sitting on opposite sides of that sofa. Okay, all right. But the bigger thing I had also is that if you watched, he never moved. Like when she turned to face him, he actually never moved forward. He never got closer. He actually told her to come over. So what it tells me is he wants to always remain in a place of control, and not that he's controlling himself. And so I see that, and I'm like, he's always trying to remain composed. He's always trying to remain the good boyfriend. He's always trying to do the right thing and have the right kind of conversation and say that I don't get annoyed by things. That Negro is going to pop off in the wildest way, if not on this show, after the show. Because there is no way you're telling me that nothing pisses you off, which is why Brittney's asking, so nothing phases you? No, something does phase you, and it's probably her. She probably irritates the soul that you live in, bro. And until you tell her the truth, you won't be free enough to give her the love that you need to give her, bro. If you do want to give her love, you know what I'm saying, Chu? And because I'm looking at it going like, you know, and I've done it before. So when I was younger, I know, you know, where you know, you're just holding your lip on everything. You know what I'm saying? You're holding your lip on everything, bro. You don't even when you're holding your lip on everything, even the way she twizzles the fork into spaghetti will piss you off. You like after a while, everything's gonna piss you off. And so if he doesn't say anything, that's my biggest fear. It's like she can walk into a room and you'll be pissed off. She can sit down and you'll be pissed off. She can say, I want to talk to you, but yeah, but because you're always remaining in this composed place. And again, the reason why I felt like Pastor Cal maybe missed it, or maybe it's editing, maybe the person who was giving the notes, again, did not give good notes. Why didn't we dig deeper into why Will is expressionless? He instead just opted to tell him how women want things to be done. And I felt like we missed a great opportunity here. Why are you doing this? We don't know. What we do know is women want men to be expressive. That's fantastic, Pastor Cal. Great. I appreciate that. That's for Peacock. But for those of us who actually want to understand relationships on a deeper level, the why question should have been asked, because we still don't know why. We're 7 episodes in. Why is it that we, you know what I mean? Why is it you're having some of these responses? You don't have any bad thing to say. They asked him, and I don't know, it got edited. They asked him, what do you have anything? They actually asked him, is there anything wrong about this relationship, about Britney or whatever? And what answer did he give? What answer did he give? I can't remember the answer properly because I don't think he even got to answer. I think it got edited out. So again, we don't even know if this guy has things that are pissing him off about the relationship, and more than likely he definitely is, because he's sat in the corner of that chair and did not move the entire time. Brittney had to even turn her ass around to face him, and then he said, "Come over here." You know, and he was doing that long range touch on the shoulder. Let me just scrunch your shoulder a little bit, make sure you're good. You know, I'm supporting you. Oh, but it was a little bit performative. Yes, sir, Elsie.
But he was looking at her when he was addressing her, and she was actually looking at Pastor Cal. So that too, you know, the way they are speaking to each other in that moment also was pivotal for me, because Pastor Cal had to address her and say, he is looking at you. Maybe you need to look at your husband. And that's what I think she is. She's being her, and she's not looking at him, because I think he's more physically telling you what annoys him rather than speak about it. He is telling her by what he's doing. And I know that strand of hair is what is annoying him, because if he's so composed, then everything he does means something. If he's not overly expressive, he's not overly doing this, he's very stoic, then you have to catalog everything he does is with purpose. Now we got to figure out what's the purpose.
Absolutely. All right. Next couple. Let's talk, obviously, Rhonda and Pat. Rhonda. Again, I mean, I think Dr. Pierre did a good job, actually. She actually did, like, address it and push it further. Rhonda was moving like a tyrant. You know, I didn't get to drop the video about it, but she was moving like and I noticed it from that episode. I think that episode 4. In episode 4, when she sat him down to have another conversation, to center herself again. It's funny because I actually noticed her centering herself before this. I think we said about it last time when we did a review. I said the only thing about Rhonda I'm a little bit concerned with is that it seems that she centers herself a lot in these issues, and everything seems to be about her. And in episode 4, she did it when she sat down with him and said, "Oh, you know, and she did judge him." That's the thing that was wild about it. And she actually gaslit him to say, like, it's about what I feel. No, nigga, it's about what you saying. Sorry, I mean, I had a moment there. You know what I mean? It's about what you said. Sorry. It's about what you said. Because she didn't explain it, and then she was explaining, and I was like, wait, sis, you basically just said that he wasn't in a relationship long enough, and then acted like you weren't judging him. You were judging him. And so that's the kind of stuff. So Pat does need to kind of like call her out on that and not allow her just to get into it. Just allow her to continue on the way she's going on. Similarly to Derek as well, right? But yeah, Rhonda, I mean, she dishes it. She really dishes it. And then she broke him in front of Dr. Pierre once he said, I ain't gonna lie to you, I feel unsafe. Like that just broke her little Disney heart, man. She just started breaking down. You know, the little fireworks that usually start before a Disney movie, started going off, bro. Like she then started realizing, rah, you know, and you heard of, you know, she almost had that cry like the black man was like, ah, that's almost a cry. That cry almost came out of her. And because she now realized that she's no longer you can't play I'm the great partner anymore. You are equally as bad as Pat. And so every time you keep saying he's talking about himself, I'm like, all right, cool. But what are you doing too? Because it sounds like every time you talk to him, you're treating him like you're in the command and he is the person who's following you. And so it's like, and I'm glad that she got to see it this time when she realized that, okay, I need to change that. She said she needs to work on that. She recognized that she needs to remove herself, not remove, but like change the way she's talking to him. She can be direct, but not necessarily, you know, commanding that way. But I don't know if she fully deeps it because the way she was commanding around that garden again. Okay, all right. Now she sprinkled a little season on that one this time. You know, she said, "Oh, my good strong man," but you could tell by Pat's face, it was starting to get to him because you telling me I can't stay in this house, but you want to start doing all the cleaning. You want me to move furniture, but I can't move in. All right, cool. All right, cool. And you want to give me a sob story about, oh, you know, I've been here for a little while, so oh, you want to give me okay. So, what's you guys' thoughts on Rhonda and Pat? You know what I mean? Probably don't say the N word. My bad, guys.
We won't.
Let's use Negro from now on.
We won't. Promise we won't. Especially when talking about them. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing that I realized Rhonda is diabolical. That story about her previous marriage. She moved in with her kids a week before the marriage. Who does that? It's reminding me of Megan and this dog. The kids need time to move in. He needs time to adjust. You need to be able to have a family life and see how you blend. How is she blending the kids with this man's life? How do you move in a week before the wedding and then find that the man isn't really giving up, you know, control of the household? She couldn't do much. She couldn't even buy curtains because he himself wasn't adjusted to having a family, having a wife, having someone live with him. Or he lived with someone and share a space. So I was like, Rhonda, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. This may be a little bit of the reverse, but you're expecting him to be ready-made and instant noodles for you. I'm glad that Pat finally spoke up because after she shushed him at the vacation at the honeymoon, I was wondering if Pat was ever going to speak up. And I'm glad that he realized Dr. P is here. We got a referee. And, you know, I think his eating the snacks while he put it away, that could have been stress eating. I was like, Pat, put the snacks away. Stop eating. Because he was stressed. I didn't even know myself if Rhonda was coming back to the apartment. I didn't know. But she goes and she tells him the history of the house. It also is a way of telling you, I'm not moving. I'm not moving out. This is my dream house. And I've lived here for 20-some years. I'm probably going to be finished paying the mortgage if I'm not done in a few years. I'm not moving. Yet when he realizes you're not going to move and he talks about, okay, how am I going to move in here with you? You shut him down. Yes, you pick it up later, but now you're the center of the conversation and you shut him down. Also, where are the curtains? Where are the curtains on these big windows? That stressed me out. I can't see somebody with big windows and especially a door with clear windows in the front. And anybody in the street could see all the way through because there ain't no curtains. And ain't no way production said take down your curtains because at least there will be the curtain rod or evidence there was a curtain rod up on the wall. There was no curtains. Okay? No curtains. What about his mother? His mother lives at her home. And remember, he dated before. He dated someone for 3 years before while he was back and forth with his mother. So he could be back and forth, taking care of his mother. My problem with Pat is 6 months. 6 months ago, he was in that relationship. So even 6 months ago, what is the duration of the application process? What's the application process? Okay, when I had my live, somebody reminded me that Carla from Math Chicago said she was fast-tracked after 3 months. Fast-tracked. So it was a real close window. Maths, I would like to know from the breakup date versus Pat's application date, or when you recruited him, whatever date that is, because it's a little too close for me. I smell an overlap. I'm smelling like overlap, or I'm smelling like, oh, I'm done with that person. Let me move on to the next adventure. Because remember, Pat told us he all about adventures. And this is his next adventure. So I don't know how serious Pat is about this wedding and marriage and stuff like that. But again, that narrow window of 6 months ago, Rhonda was right to feel a little flustered about it because you just got out of a relationship. She's no saint. It's been forever for her. She's kind of set in her ways. But again, this is why I love the folks over 50 who are previously married, who have lived a life. I'm loving seeing their, part in this, because we could see what, being set in your ways can become. But that 6 months window, yeah, Pat, I'm crying foul on that one. That's a big red flag. But yeah, if this don't work out, Pat, you possibly can get a job as her pool boy. That is certainly open to you.
Go for it, Presh.
Just to double check, is the sound okay? Because I had to switch my headphones because my other ones had died. Is it okay or no?
No, he's good. That's all right. No, that's all right. Just don't let it falter. You know what I mean?
You're halfway in the fishbowl. You're not all the way in.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for my other ones to charge because they ran out of battery. But basically, I can't. Okay. All right.
You're good to go. You're good to go.
You just ruined it for me. Okay. No. Rhonda is a lot. She's very intense. She's very direct, and I think the directness is a bit of a defense mechanism for her. When she's starting to feel a bit uncomfortable or afraid or attacked or just just anxious. And for me, it was just interesting when she was having a very visceral reaction, because when he basically said, no, I appreciate your directness, but sometimes it can, he basically wanted to say you're aggressive but couldn't say it. He didn't want to say the word aggressive. But then she was saying, this is something that's come up in past relationships. This is what's been said. I feel like it's happening again. The same things that you say you like about me are the same things that you're saying are an issue now. And I think when she went on the walk with the dogs and she was speaking to the producers, it just felt a bit kind of like Dr. Pia kind of a little bit missed the opportunity to help her see the cycle of what was happening. And help her learn how to break that cycle, because when she gets fearful and she gets upset, she leaves instead of staying and trying to just be close and trying to have that mutual reassurance and that sort of co-regulation that can happen. And so, and then in the other side of me was like, well, if this is something that's coming up regularly, then there's something there that you need to address. And I think she later on kind of came back to him and was like, I need to rephrase things differently so that you feel safe to say those things. Because I think Pat has done a good job of being as open as he can when Rhonda is bringing criticism or bringing feedback. And I think that isn't being reciprocated because the way she shifted her whole body away from him when he said what he said in front of Dr. Pia, I was like, if Pat had done that to her, the way it would have been nuclear warfare in that home. I was like, you can't do that. You can't just shift your whole entire body. She basically climbed up on that kitchen counter. She practically climbed up on that kitchen counter away from this man. So I just think, yeah, I think that that's the downside of being a bit older in this show is that you are a little bit more set in your ways, and it's harder to shift those behavioral patterns because those behavioral patterns have had decades to set in. But I think that I think there's a there's hope because they are speaking, they're talking, they're able to be more honest than a lot of the couples are. If we're being real, you know, they've been the best at being able to be honest with each other, which has been good. So I just hope that Rhonda relaxes a bit because I think she's the first one to say, you know, I'm just being scared, I'm trying to protect myself, and using a lot of that therapy speech, but she still continues to fall into the same behavioral patterns. So I hope she's able to check herself a little bit, remind herself of the advice she's been given by Dr. Pia. I hope Pat is able to give her gentle reminders of that advice as well. And hopefully, you know, if they're able to do that, I think they can find a way to maneuver through their difficulties. But a part of me is thinking we might have this season be a season when nobody stays together. So who knows? But I'm fingers crossed for them because I think if they're intentional, they can work.
They possibly can work, but you know, they can work if Pat keeps her centered. If Pat keeps her centered and only talk about her and what she wants to do, it can work. But you know, it's the same thing. Pat is trying to do double dutch since that moment when she said you constantly talk about yourself. He's constantly trying to say, okay, I need to ask you more because and then he tried to add a little bit about himself, like, oh yeah, I've had that experience. And she's like, you just did it. This is about me. Don't pull in and put a little quip about you. And the thing is, Rhonda, he's trying to, you know, connect with you. He's not trying to take over the conversation. He's just trying to connect and say, hey, we may be a little bit similar. But now he's pulled all the way back. He can't even speak when they're, you know, putting the plants around the pool. Pat really didn't talk at all because he said he was very conscious of just not ticking her off, basically. So, you know, she's scaring that man. I'm not saying he's a saint. He definitely is not a saint, but he is definitely pulled all the way back like Will, but he's not technically saying it. It's just like her being mad at him about the cycling group. She just arbitrarily said about a cycling group. She didn't really know that much about it. She says Saturday and he thinks it's maybe Sunday, but he said, you know what? I'll take that information and I'll ask the people I know that are really into cycling and know what's going on around Austin. Why did you need him for you to be his source of information when you clearly didn't even have all the information? That boggled my mind. He said, oh, good idea. Let me go ask the people who know about this. And you know, get all the information. And then y'all can have a conversation. But it's like, no, you need to be his source. You need to be the sense of the conversation. And he needs to just do as he's told. That's what it sounded like. But she just is very much into herself at this moment.
Mm-hmm. But I also think that part of it is her being a mum and her being a single mum for a good long while is being the point of call for everyone in the house, you know, being the person that you go to say, okay, I'm trying to do this, how do I do this? And I think for her, she maneuvers in that way of almost like an act of service of this is how I show I care, this is how I show I'm invested, by helping you, by giving you things, by saying, hey, you should try this, you should try this, you should try this. So she feels like that's being outsourced to someone else. She's then thinking, okay, well, what's the point of me then trying, or what, what's my role here? And I think she has to remember that, like, that's not your role here. Like, you should be happy that he's taking this away and he's going to find out himself. Because what you don't want is him going, oh, okay, you find out for me. And then now you have to go and do all this research and find out and then come back to him instead of him doing it on his own. And that's what you want. You want him to be someone who can be independent and do these things on his own, but still be able to come and, maneuver with you. So that's what's supposed to happen. He's supposed to go and ask people who know about it and, talk about it. And quite frankly, I'd rather you do that. I'd rather you figure it out. And if when you figure it out, you come back to me and let me know. We don't need to be going back and forth. I don't need to be telling you the name of something I can't remember. So I just think she's just so used to being needed that I think she has to shift out of how you're needed. I think, yes, a husband needs a wife, but I think it's a need in a very different way. And I think she's still quite slow to adjusting to that.
No, I definitely hear you. And I think with Rhonda, I think Pat just needs to learn how to also speak up, learn how to assert his boundaries, and just let her know that she can't just talk anyhow in any way, and that he is a human being who also wants to be spoken to correctly. And she'll get more out of him when he does that, right? Because right now he's people pleasing, so he's got a snapping point. It's just not reached yet. Okay, all right, and when he snaps, it's gonna be interesting. Okay. So I do need him to kind of speak up and let her know exactly that this is what he's feeling as well. Now I don't know how safe it's gonna be, because the fact that he said, listen, hey, I do feel like you just you're very direct, but just that little thing made her not just move, it also made her start swearing. Okay. She then started saying, you ain't effing told me. I said, Rhonda. Huh? I said, listen, Rhonda, I don't know how ready she is to hear critique about her particular behavior. I just don't know how ready she is. So even if Pat does step up, because I think the problem we're going to have is it's not just him stepping up, it's competency. And this is why I was not even competent. This is I feel like sometimes her energy is contemptuous. It's like I think she feels like she's better than him. And I don't know how that can turn around, because she's right. I do think she's better than him. I'm joking. But no, I feel like in terms of energy and intelligence and the way it's portrayed, not necessarily that it actually is, it's the way it's displayed. I don't see it turning around as of yet. That I don't see her being able to like look at him and go, no, he knows more. He might know something more than me or not. Because even when, and this is how wild it was, they were having a conversation and she mentioned about the biker gang. And he said, oh, okay, yeah, cool. I'll just call up one of my friends. Like he innocently said, I'll just call up one of my friends and just like, and she twisted it into with Dr. Pierre. And this is what I'm saying. And she said, you did it again. You did it again. Yes. And this time when I told you about it, why can't you just let me help? The brother, I was confused. I said, the brother didn't even say anything rude. He just said, hey, I hear you. I'll just call one of my friends and get it sorted, because I think that was all. And you did it again. And I said, oh, this girl here, it's going to be hard to learn some new tricks. Like, she right now, I know I think she does like him. I genuinely do think she likes him. I don't question whether she likes him or not. I just think she's contemptuous in the fact that she thinks she might be better. He was busy eating. Oh, I heard that part. He was stress eating. He said he was stress eating, trying to save himself. You know what I mean? And
no, we're talking about you, Kojo.
Oh, I was stress eating. Yeah.
No, Alton said you didn't hear what she said. And I was like, yeah, because he was busy eating.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, maybe I didn't hear that part. I was eating and eating some Cheerios. Oh, Oh, you lot are terrible. Oh,
No, because that's what I talked about right before about that
Oh.
cycle thing.
Oh, my bad.
But that's okay. You put your own spice on it, and it resonated with the crowd.
Hey, I hear you. Let's move on. On that note, let's move it right along. Let's get to another couple. Let's get to Chad and Belinda. I want to get your thoughts on Chad and Belinda because they both just said I love you at different times. I said I love you at different times, but you know, I can't lie. I don't know. I don't think she's feeling them like that. Do you know what it is? It was interesting because I felt like when the girls were having their conversation and she was waiting to obviously explain some things, her facial expression didn't give me somebody who's like loving somebody or liking someone. Her facial expression was almost as if like she was almost annoyed. But she didn't say it. Do you know what I mean? And when she said, obviously, I'm not going to say I love you, I didn't think that was a problem. I understood that. I get it. In that particular space as well, I understood that particular perspective. I wasn't mad at the fact she wanted to take her time to say I love you. But I guess because after I'd done seeing that facial expression, I was like, I don't even when she even said I love you at that time, I was like, did she force that I love you? Because he said I love you again, and then it felt like, you know what, she wasn't really feeling like that, and she ended up saying it because she was afraid of how he might feel, which doesn't mean necessarily it's him issue because he hasn't. I don't think he's shown us anything that says that she can't explain how she felt because they had a discussion about this in the bed. He said, "Listen, explain how you feel." Like, and she said, obviously, she always gets scared of that. That's her. She needs to work on that. But maybe I don't know. Maybe it was a drunk dance and that sent her over the edge. Who knows? But I think I think he definitely cares about. He likes her. I mean, the guy cooks a mean crawfish. I ain't tasted it, but it looked good. You know what I mean? So. A brother that feeds a 5,000, you know, he seems pretty cool right now. I can't lie to you. It seems pretty cool right now. Is it not working? Okay, talk to me.
It ain't working. Okay, and I created a short on my channel about it when they took and Trey, you could speak up in the chat if you want to, but when they took the plate away, Chad neck turned around and was following that waitress. And I was like, done. Because if you looking at the waitress while they leave, you know, Trey wanted to say, oh, he wasn't done with his meal and he was looking. No, Chad is a man that would say, I'm not through, but thank you. Okay. But he was looking. His head turned. And then he snapped at production, trying to move him along. And yes, they were interrupting him, but we don't know. We don't know how long Chad has been sitting in those moments. And they're like, we ain't got all night. We ain't got all night to be filming you for you to figure out what you're trying to say. Okay. But yes, he's feeding the people. He putting up his flag. He putting up his lights. But again, you know, I don't think she's too far from him. She's just a different version of him. Okay. But Chad, I'm not feeling it at all. Okay. Yes, he came in, he was, you know, dancing and he was, you know, a little bit loose because he was drinking that goose maybe. But I was like, it's a good thing tonight was not the night that you said I love you first. But then why would Belinda pick a night that he was intoxicated to actually say I love you? Why would she choose this night? Is she hoping he won't remember it tomorrow? What is going on here? Okay. I was like, Belinda, your choices are making me wonder if you really like this dude or not. But when also we talking again, the theme of this week needs to be what? Responsible dog ownership. Belinda's dog that keeps on barking at Chad every time he walks by. The dog ain't barking at production. There are other people in the room, but every time he walks by, the dog is barking at Chad. Belinda, get your dog. Get your dog, please. You need to figure out, is the dog barking because the dog is like needing, you know, attention? Maybe Chad needs to turn around and pet the dog on the head. Or is it that the dog doesn't like Chad? You need to get your dog. You don't just say, oh, well, that's what the dog does every time somebody passes by. You know, that's what he does. He barks. No, because we've seen it on film that the dog is not barking at production. Because if that was the case, then that dog will constantly be barking and we won't be able to film. So Belinda, I need you to get your head out of the clouds and figure it out. Figure it out. And, you know, I think she maybe the newness of Chad is wearing off, but I don't know. But yes, it did look, it looked like some good crawfish, but, you know, I didn't see much seasoning there in the pot. But maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. But yeah, I just, yeah, yes, Trey, we talked about it. But his head was turned and his knife and fork was not in his hand and the plate was somewhat empty, Trey. You're not going to get me to think that he's looking at the plate when the back of the waitress was facing him when he was looking while they were walking away. I'm sorry, Trey. You ain't going to get me with that one. But yeah, I don't see it for these two at all.
I think that Belinda is unnerved by Chad. I think he's very intense. And his reaction when he came back home from being drunk is an indicator of his intensity because he kept telling her, I love you, you're amazing, until she was forced to say, love you back. Not even I love you. She said, love you. Because it was so awkward. He clearly was waiting for her to say something. And I think that also is her people pleaser instinct in there as well, of feeling pressured to say something in that moment. But you can tell by her face when he came back home from the boys' night, she was annoyed. She was irritated at him because he was drunk and he was dancing and she was looking at this man like, what are you doing? Like she was annoyed with this man. This man irritates her. He irritates her. And I think because he's so intense and she's not there yet, I think she's got the ick. I think that's what's happened is that she's got the ick with him. With Chad, he's very intense, and I think he's intense with his jokes, and he's intense when he's annoyed. And I think for her, I think Belinda's feeling very, I don't want to say unsafe because I don't think she's unsafe, but I think she's just feeling unnerved. She feels like she has to walk on eggshells because she doesn't know what she doesn't know what the trigger point is going to be. Because even in that scene where he kind of goes at the production staff, yeah, he could have been there for a long time, not being able to come up with a word to say. But again, how you address people indicates your level of tolerance in moments that you're annoyed and how you're able to manage your emotions. And even after she was like, you know, that I saw that it's disrespectful, and he was like, well, I didn't. And that's fair enough. You may have not seen it as disrespectful, but you have to remember, like, he will come up and he'll be like, I can sometimes be an asshole, but you know, that's just who. It's like he takes pride in that a little bit, and I'm like, he's very, he can be very short, very stern, very like biting and rude, and I think maybe that's that military background. But a lot of that, I think, that intensity in both things and how it can switch without you really know when it's going to switch, I think that's what is unnerving her. And I don't think Belinda's able to really feel comfortable as a result. And then I think his intensity with his feelings, so you know, so soon, so much, I think that's giving her a little bit of the ick. And she's not able to say it because she's afraid of what his reaction is going to be. Because I think she's afraid of being on the other end of that Chad, the same Chad that was going after the producers. I think she's afraid of being on the end of that, and being felt as like she's the bad guy. And again, that's the people pleasing coming in. So yeah, this pairing is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, she just needs to, just like just like Pat and old boy Derek, she needs to speak up. Okay, these issues are all coming from not speaking up and not being able to hold your ground and not being able to hold your boundaries and let people know that certain behaviors you're not cool with. I think Derek did a great job in introducing a conversation with her when she didn't want to say what her true thoughts were about the dinner. I actually think that both of them were right. I think the way that he reacted, she has every right to feel like, you know what, she's probably thinking about, the way you treat people and whether you're kind to people. But I also felt as well like, yeah, if I'm frustrated, should I just be mute? Like if I'm frustrated, I'm frustrated. Like at the end of the day, like, do you know what I mean? So I saw both sides of the coin. It does require for both people to speak up. And I think he facilitated a really good conversation in that space. But I also I can see how, yeah, like I said, Chad is the one that told us he could be a bit of a dick. So probably not the right word he said, but he said he could be the word that he said. Was it dick that he said? Okay.
He said that.
Oh, okay.
He could be.
What was
He
the
could
word?
be he could be
No, he said
Asshole.
he said the
Sorry, wrong part of the
asshole.
body.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
so I was on the wrong side of the body. But yeah, no. So I think with him, um, you know, I think with them two, I think if she just can start telling the truth about how she feels and what's going on, and maybe some things that she wants to see differently, it'll be better. Because actually, she kind of did it in that conversation in the bed, but now we're here. I can actually see why I felt a type of way about her comment, but I just couldn't say anything yet because it was too early. I didn't watch the rest of the episodes. In the bed, she says something really interesting. He goes, "Oh, to make a mistake is human." You know what I mean? So, and she joked and said, "Yeah, can you make less mistakes?" And I said, "Oh, that's gonna be a problem. You're making a joke, but when someone makes a joke like make less mistakes, they usually ain't joking. They're kind of saying what they want to say in a passive aggressive means, and it's good for nobody because if she's saying make less mistakes, she might be looking at some of the things you're doing, and maybe she's been overcritical, maybe she's not. We don't know. And also at the same time, how safe would the other person be if every time you make a mistake, they're on your neck? You know what I mean? So, like again, I just start seeing more and more with these two that actually there is going to be potentially, an issue that's going to come up that's going to blow them both up in a way that's going to be slightly different from what we've seen so far. Because yeah, that I love you later on was just like, and then obviously because her daughter was crying, saying how much that she liked Chad for her. I was like, my thing was this. She don't fancy that man. When she saw the bald head and he Caucasian. He Caucasian.
Don't forget the gut.
I started thinking, I don't know if this is her type, especially when I look at the dad. And you were with the dad for a long time, since you were 19, even when he was cheating on your ass.
The athlete.
I'm just saying there might be some attraction issues there too, So I'm not saying that's 100%. I'm just saying that might also be there as well. In that space as well. So I think there's work on both sides in that space for them too. But right now it's okay. But yeah. Yes, Elsie, go for it.
How about when she said that she takes time for her to get over things?
Yo, that was wild to me. Go for it, Elsie. That was wild to me too.
She's like, I'll have to sleep on it. I think it's going to take more than sleeping on it. I think she holds grudges, but that's just me. She was just letting him know this may come up again. When I get angry at you, I may call you all kinds of stuff, and this gonna come up again. So it was wild.
I think also she wanted to I agree because the whole time I've been watching them, I'm like, this woman don't like this man. This woman does not like this man, and I think she wanted to avoid having to be close to him and hug it out and still sulk about it. Because I was really like, Belinda, it's not that deep. The man apologized. He said, "I'm sorry. I will try and do better." It's really not that deep. She don't like him. She does not like that man, and I think that's why even when he came home drunk, she has the ick. She has the ick. That's what if she has the ick. And her saying that she's gonna hold on to it, that might be as a result of her people pleasing. Of she might be thinking you're not being considerate enough. Because that's another thing about people pleasing is that you then think everyone else is not being considerate enough because they're not thinking about all the things that you're thinking about and all the things that you're taking into consideration. It's like, well, they're different. They're not going to take this. Like, it's not a deep. So, yeah, I do definitely think it's going to show up. And she might the next day say something about the drinking, about him saying, I want to dance, I want to dance. Because even when, for example, oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing. The point that I had the issue was when they were at the dinner table and they were talking about what they see as romance. And this man was like, oh, I want to take you to dinner. I want to take you out to experiences. I want to do all of those things. She just goes, no, 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 no. I want you to cuddle me. I want you to hold my hand. You don't have to do all of that. I'm like, Belinda, you all right? Are you okay?
Bare
Is
minimum.
everything okay back? Do you know what I mean? Is everything okay back home? This man is saying, I'm going to wine and dine you, and you're saying, I want cuddles and hold my hand. You do not like this man. That's what it is. You do not like this man because that's a wild statement to say. And even if that's how you view romance, right? There's a way to say it of, you know what? I love that that's what you like to do and I appreciate it. And I'm going to allow myself to bask in that. But also on top of that, I really appreciate physical touch. I really appreciate quality time. I really appreciate da 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 da. Not saying, no, 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 we see it differently. I want this. What? That man just said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for you. And you're talking about hold hands and cuddle. You're crazy.
Well, I gotta speak up for her. I'm thinking in a sense of remember what she said on the honeymoon. She didn't want him to think that all she wanted was for him to spend money on her, and everything he spoke about was about spending money. So that may be it, but I agree with you. It shouldn't be no, no, no. We can't do that. Why don't we do this as well? And I think he put it into perspective when he came home. They danced in the kitchen. He's leaving her a note when he leaves for work. He is putting in the effort in that regard. But I think I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt because, hey, she's maybe too precious. Remember, the ex-husband was the breadwinner. He was the one who was the athlete bringing in the money, and she is at home. Could she see money as a form of control? That is where I'll be scared.
Yeah, because that conversation she had with her daughter about the prenup, the postnup, I was like, girl, what? And then Jaylen comes back and says, oh, I'm thinking about that prenup again. And I'm like, If I was that business partner, I would be taking that postnup to her door right now. I said, sign this, sign right here.
With the notary in tow. The notary is with me.
Like, are you mad? She was like, oh, I've got to think about this now. What do you mean you got to think about this? If you don't sign that post up today.
Nah, definitely. But yeah, definitely put some thoughts that I had as well in that space. But yeah, definitely felt like when she said about I hold grudges and I have to sleep on it, I said, oh, she hates that man. Because she's not willing to let go of the grudges, bro. She said, and it's still early. You know what I mean? At least lie a little bit. Like, no, I do get other things. Because you do at the beginning. You actually do. And then the real truth comes out later on. But like the fact that she said it openly, yeah, I I might have to sleep on it. I said, baby girl, I was like, that's a bit wild. But yeah, no. I think and again, I think this has come because that she stayed in that relationship of the father of her kids for way too long. He did a number on her. And when I did the original video on them, I did speak about that fact that some of the details just were a bit wild. I mean, of course, she was young. She was 19. She had kids with this man. Didn't know probably any better. And then probably try her absolute hardest to make it work. And so, losing her voice and losing her, losing her voice and losing her ability to state her needs and stuff like that in a relationship where she probably felt like was losing grip of reality and sense of sense of sanity, you know. And then you get into this relationship with this person who maybe is a bit more, you know, authoritative, if you want to say, and you're probably thinking to yourself, am I going back to the same place I was going before? You know, and yeah, so I was just listening to her, you know, like, because obviously then she lost out with a divorce apparently, because like, look, she had to start all over again. It doesn't sound like she was getting money, you know, as well in that space. So mama had to do everything from scratch, and from bottom up. And so I get it. I just think to myself that, again, these are the things I'm saying that always on these shows. I just hope that the experts can get a hold of them quickly, because these are things that are fixable. They're fixable by having conversation. They're fixable by saying, hey, I know you're feeling this. What's behind that? So you can really explore that. This is not something that is like, I'm looking at, oh my God, like it should break your relationship. This is something that can actually bring you closer, you know, and get to that place. But again, you know, the experts only get involved in certain times. But yeah, no. So just listening to them, I thought they could work. But yeah, the conversation with the daughter too was also interesting as well. I did think to myself, no, I don't think she did anything wrong. She was only giving her experience, you know, and she could only give her what she had in that moment. And it was on the daughter to go and, you know, thingy. The daughter's one that then started doing the flip-flop, you know. And then we'll talk about that in a second too, because that flip-flop made him flip-flop and he flip-flop. And I said, oh, that's mad. But yeah, no, I hope Belinda starts to thaw out a bit more and not be as sensitive, because I want her to be able to enjoy the experience more. And if it is with Chad, fantastic. I hope they go forward. If not, then cool. I also get it as well. But yeah, okay. You know, let's talk about the last couple, because it's prenup. And I thought it was interesting because, of course, I don't like the way it went. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not saying old girl did anything wrong per se. I'm saying that this was solely on our brother, you know, Josh. He needs to stop people pleasing. Okay, all right. Your business partner said prenup, and I believe you went to your business partner and you sweetened him up, because there ain't no way he turned his back on that prenup and said, "Oh yeah, it's fine. Don't think about it." No, if they told you to get a prenup originally, you ain't changing your mind because you think they're sweet. Okay, so you went and sweetened up your business partner and said it'll be fine, or maybe you were testing her and there was never an agreement between you and your business partner about no prenup, because I don't know how you turn that around. If I'm the business partner, I told you get a prenup. Why would I change my mind because you just told me how amazing your wife is, who I probably haven't even met yet? So I don't know why that suddenly that flipped around to that space where your business partner is just so great. He's so calm. He's so cool. I said, nah, you saying some stuff. You ain't being real. Something's not being told here about your situation. You lying to us about something. And I guess that obviously does come through, because he said, and again, he's a chameleon. I'm going to say it straight. You know what? I didn't see it till a little bit later on, but he's a chameleon. Very similar to how Megan plays again as well. Chameleon kind of energy when they're in front of people. So this ex situation, when he said, "Oh, I'm happy to release the ex and I won't talk to her. I've seen how you feel." You're a chameleon, because you know you weren't being true and you're hiding your true colors and you're hiding behind. You know, I'm quick to switch over. I'm quick to change. I'm quick to adapt to the scenario. And I definitely do think he likes it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it was chameleon. It was chameleon in the behavior. And then the ex situation for me is just wild behavior. I've seen this before though. I've seen this especially with avoidance. You know, both DA and FA have history of doing this particular thing where they want to keep control dynamics in a relationship. They start triangulating. They start using the orbiters around to help them feel secure and powerful in relationships. One of the ways to kind of feel like you're not being as, you know, as vulnerable. Because you know what? If anything happens, I can always go to my ex or to a girl or guy that I know very well that likes me. So for me, I was like, I don't understand why the ex situation, why you're still talking to her. Why the heck are you still talking to that ex? Right? Y'all are done. And you know how I feel about this ex situation. Let the ex be ex. We don't need to ask why, but they are ex. So yeah, that was for me was interesting. And then that when they did the game where they were going to do, you know, walking away from each other. First and foremost, love the game, Dr. Bia, but I'm sorry. How can they be authentically true when they can feel each other walking away from each other? I'm sorry. You tell me you can't feel my presence? You can't hear my shoes on the creaking floorboard? Yeah? You know I'm moving, blood. It would have been easier to ask people just one by one, just like there was no point doing it. Most just ask them one by one. What's your thoughts of this? What's your thoughts of this? And then do it from there. But shout out to those people. It was a good game. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's just I just felt like because I don't think any of them are gonna be all the way honest about their feelings. It was like as soon as someone moved, they moved. As well. So yeah, what's you guys' thoughts on Jaylen and Josh? How do you guys see it? Someone said there's nothing wrong with talking and staying with your friends with your ex. Yeah, I can tell you an op right away. Yeah, send you to the gulag straight away. What's it, Rosho 4334? Yeah, you're marked. I now know you, op 100. I don't mess with people that keep friends with their exes like them. No, you a dangerous person. You don't let things go, baby. You're gonna have me tied up. No. You're gonna take me down like Chris. No, I'm only joking, Rosho. Appreciate you. What's you guys what's your ladies' thoughts on Jaylen and Josh? How did you see it? What did you glean from it as well?
You ain't lying about Rosho. We done had that conversation on my side of the world. I was waiting for her to put that in. So yeah, there's nothing wrong. She don't see nothing wrong with talking to exes. We know, Rosho. Okay, I ain't gonna let you out because that was, what's in members stays in members. But these two, yes, Dr. Pia's, game was, informative. It was good questions we could all use. Will I have your passwords to everything? Okay. But I need to know you a little bit more because I don't know if you're going to be using that stuff, against me after a while. You're going to be sending messages to other people. I just came off Love is Blind Brazil, where this woman was using other people's phone to try and contact the man that she left at the altar. So I need to know you a little bit more before I give you all those passwords. But the whole ex situation is going to derail them because he's going to cut off that ex all of a sudden. And then ex is going to be like, wait a minute, we go for coffee. We usually hang. What happened? And then the ex is going to be like, oh, is that new wife of yours? Okay. And then we go start a snowball. But is there a business partner? That's my question. Before we get to the whole point of changes and this, is there a business partner? Or is he just creating someone to, blame for this? Because that's the first thing I would ask Josh. Who is this business partner? And why weren't they at the wedding anyway? So they should have been a guest at the wedding. But anyway, so if there is a business partner, how is it that my interest is going to be protected against your new wife? There's no way a reliable business partner is going to say, oh, don't worry about the post-nump. I'm sure you got a wonderful, wonderful wife that the show found for you. No, ma'am. No, sir. I'm sorry. No business partner worth their salt or worth their investment would ever say that. So I'm calling foul on if there is even a business partner. Now, he is, as you said, a chameleon. He's a blade of grass. He bends with the wind. Wherever the wind blows is exactly where Josh is. But here's the only thing. He kind of tries to push her limits on experiences. And I'm wondering if he's now going to push her limits with this whole conversation with the ex. Wonder if this whole, still talking to the ex is going to push the limits. What if the ex is the business partner? That's a possibility. Then we can't stop talking to the ex. What if the ex is a business partner? That would certainly throw a wrench into it. I would definitely want to post up after that. But his explanation doesn't sit well, and I think he only gave this explanation because Dr. Pia was there. Because there's no way a business partner is going to say, yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah, I have had my eye on Josh for the longest time. And since we know she grew up in privilege and he has not, I'm looking to see how that's going to work as far as how they're going to live their life together. But that ex, I think, is going to derail them. The ex talk is going to derail them.
I think the chameleon part that you guys mentioned, I didn't realize that until now, and I'm starting to see that. I think her switching up her thing about the prenup is wild to me because she's shouting, "I don't want your money. I want to be, independent. I want to work." So sign the damn prenup, postnup, sorry. Sign it. Just sign it. It's not that deep. Just sign it. And if you're worried about the terms, then get a lawyer to look over the terms and negotiate and sign the postnup. I don't believe him about the whole business partner change their mind malarkey. His ex could very well be the business partner, and I think in that case she would have to deal with it. But I think I don't know if he's scared. I don't know what's going on. Who knows? But yeah, following your ex, mm, mm. Especially if the person that you're with says, "I have an issue with that," and you're like, "Nah, I'm gonna continue following my ex." I'm telling you this now, ladies. If you're with a guy and you ask him to unfollow his ex, and he's like, "Nah," just know that relationship ain't going. It's not going anywhere. I'm giving you a year tops. A year at the max. I'm being generous. That's how long you got. A year max. Just saying. And he may never speak to that woman again. It's just the principle of it's not comfortable for you because really and truly, if you break up, you can go follow your ex again. It's not that deep. So the fact that you can't do a simple unfollow is a principle of you're not really invested in this. So yeah. But anyways, so him being so clearly not wanting to do that and also still talking to her. Why are you still talking to her? Why come on Married at First Sight and still be talking to your ex? You should have gone back there. What? And why is she ex? Why did you guys break up? Who dumped who? Because that's an important question. Who broke up with who? That's a very important question that needs to be answered because why are you still talking to her? Please. So yeah, so this is going to become an issue. I can see them. And also because everything was so hunky-dory. And I don't know, is it me? Is it just me? But her laugh is really annoying. Is it just me? I find her laugh really annoying. It sounds fake. And it probably isn't because it's consistent, but it's yeah. But I don't have anything against these guys, people. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't know. It's their relationship seemed so intense at the beginning, so much like everything's perfect, everything's perfect. I don't think they ever really had proper conversations, and I think those conversations are now starting to come out, and the truth is starting to come out. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, this season is it's looking like anybody's staying together. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's how it's looking. It's not looking like nobody's gonna stay married.
Austin and Denver ain't far from each other.
Well, with those two, well, looking forward to them obviously next episode because I think this X situation is going to really blow some things out of the water. I think he's testing her personally. I think whenever you see something like this, especially with his background, I think he's testing to see whether she would abandon him and whether he will leave her, whether she'll leave him. And I think he wants to see how much he can push her to that limit because he's been abandoned, right? His mom abandoned him, by going to jail and then couldn't trust her. And his dad obviously didn't know about him. And, he's obviously dancing in his life a bit more now, but, it's all abandonment in a sense. So he's trying to test out to feel, will this woman abandon me? I know she says she loves me, she cares about me. I know she's doing what she's doing for me. Will she abandon me? And I can't lie to you. Sometimes when I hear her voice, it is irritating. I don't know. And I think it's irritating because I don't know if she's been honest about her actual true voice. Like the tone of it, I mean. Like I was watching it and I was like, I don't want to be a dampener on them. But when I watched them on the boat, I started questioning. Listen, I don't know why I always question people whether they like people or not, but I started questioning whether she liked him because her tone and even the hug, there was still a gap. If you notice, the hug was actually at a distance. There's like there's a little bit of a gap between the two of them when she hugged him, and then and when he made a joke about them being in a boat, the laugh was like, "Oh my god, silly! You're so silly! You're just so." And I'm like, if you don't fix the fake up, what the heck is going on here? I just feel like she's forcing a lot of it to happen, and I don't know if she's been her true, authentic self, but it might be her. It might be her, but I'm just saying that I had that also impression too. And of course, I'm waiting to see a couple of next episodes and see how it goes on. But I did get that kind of feeling. I was like, does she really like him? Does she actually, is she just tolerating him? Does she just want marriage so bad that she's willing to work it with this man? Again, like I said, that's not necessarily my overall thought. It's just a thought that came to my mind when I watched him. I was like, I'm starting to that laugh, that the way her tone, and I think she doesn't. To be fair, the same tone is with her mother, right? But I wonder if that's because again she's always played the role for her mother, which is like the emotional rock, trying to make sure mom's good. Probably hiding a lot of her real true emotions because mom's going through the ring with dad. You know what I'm saying to you? Like she said, her family's amazing. I'm like, whilst your dad was out here knocking boots with other people. Hey, I'm not saying it wasn't great. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. Like he was cheating on your mom for a long time. I just want you to know that. Like he doing it for a long time. So I was like asking myself that question again, like, okay, wait, okay. What's going on here? So yeah, it's just something that I'm noticing. Doesn't mean necessarily that's actually true, but it's just another thought process in there. Any last thoughts, ladies, before we draw this to a close?
Yeah, as I said, that laugh, I don't know, it's consistent, but it's just so like penetrating, it's so piercing. And on the boat, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know if she likes him because, and I don't know if it's just because maybe she grew up with not seeing her parents be quite lovey-dovey, and so she isn't great with physical affection, and initiating that isn't great. But even for example, like after they did the spin class, and this man tried, the spin class ain't easy. He tried. There was no real like, oh my God, you did amazing. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for, you look great while you were doing it. Like there wasn't enough of that. And the way she talks about her family, she makes it sound like they're super lovey-dovey and it's like super, encouraging, but it's not coming out in her words of affirmation and it's not coming out in her physical touch. So I think yes, she might have been privileged and spoiled and things, but I think she's used to being doted on, and I don't know if that's coming through. And I think that's going to be an issue eventually because there's just areas where I'm like, come on, like give him a bit of something, like give him a bit of, and that's something I'm noticing in this season. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know if maybe because I hang around, I talk to like Kojo and Jason and Jeff too much, and all of them too much. That's what's happening. Y'all rubbing up on me, but I'm watching this season. I'm like, these women do not know how to give men compliments at all. Like, there's no compliment. There's no like, oh my God, you're like you're amazing. I'm
No feminine
proud.
wilds.
Nothing. Like nothing. Like no words of encouragement. Nothing. And I'm just like, my girls, what we doing? So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. Time will tell.
Well, they're showing us the flip side, Precious, because many a time we say men don't usually know how to speak to a lady and how to speak to her romantically. So they're showing us this is the other side. I just like the fact that they are showing us some people and the way they edit it is that we're seeing glaringly, why these people are single. Why these people are single either in their 30s or of a particular age, a mature age. So I really am enthused at the fact that, we have the over 50 crew because we're going to see if you don't fix up in 30s, you may end up in your 50s with the same issues.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Listen, we've had an amazing show today. You know, all I keep hearing is just, it was wonderful, it was great, it was vibes. And it was fun talking about these couples. I think this is probably one of the best seasons I've watched in a long while, in terms of just because they gave us so much good background, you know, and maybe because also the couples they're wild without being wild. Like they have their own issues, and you know, you can just kind of see it boiling up to being a madness, but it's not, you know, doing too much, and I like that. So you know, we're going to tap in again next week for another breakdown as well. But of course, Ready to Love is on this week, guys. So Saturday, 7 p.m. EST. We back. Ready to Love. Detroit. Can't lie to you, one woman was looking like a baddie. She was
quite a few of them, Kojo. Quite a few of them. But I think I know.
You know, though, there's one, that dress that she wore.
Ooh.
I said, turn from Genesis to Revelations.
My unhealthy side coming out. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm with. Yes.
You know, but you know, I have a picker on these shows. It don't end well when I pick
the one you pick is usually the one that's going to be the wild one.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, and
but I feel like that's very much accurate to his real life. Though also, like
no.
In the stream.
No. I pick sensible people. But you know, they.
You're stuttering.
They have their
Someone in the chat said. Someone in the chat said, "Please heal, bro."
They. That's not my business.
That's Katie.
That's, you know what? I you know, it'll be me. That's what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? It's not me that's a mess. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
That's because of you lot. Okay? You lot are doing that.
I said no lies. I said no lies.
I didn't say you lied. We just need to end stream.
I say sensible thing. No way. They got issues. Get me? Something to do with me.
Do they?
I don't know right now, but you know, they it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That picker be picking for a reason, I tell you that.
Listen, I've been picking the finest baddies. They just need a bit more help. But listen, guys, ladies, thank you for joining us today. It's been wonderful. Make sure you join us on Saturday night for the Ready to Love breakdown. Yeah, we're gonna have some more fun, and let's see how good my picker has improved since, you know, Egypt days. You know, personally, I don't think it has. In regards to, listen, I know there's sensible people there, and she probably isn't sensible, but she's fine, and I'm gonna give her a pass. So anyway, listen, I gotta go. I appreciate y'all. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Okay, all right.
I bet you could. But no.
We gotta go, guys. Much love. Bye, boy.
Little black book. You know what time it is. Time it is.